So you've checked all the boxes. Career, relationships, responsibilities. On paper, it looks like you're doing fine. But underneath that polished version of okay, something feels unsettled. And you keep telling yourself, I should be happy. But instead, you're stuck in this loop of I'm fine that doesn't really feel fine. We're going to talk about what this off feeling really means and how it might be the best signal your life ever gives you. So we're told if we follow the rules, do what we're supposed to do, then we'll feel happy. But what no one really talks about is that fine can become its own kind of trap. I spent years building a life that made perfect sense on the outside, but I'd stopped listening to the deeper part of me that actually knew when something wasn't right. But just because I had stopped listening didn't mean that the feelings went away. For a long time, I did what most of us do. I just ignored it and waited for this existential fog to just kind of lift on its own, thinking it would just pass. And eventually it does kind of tend to fade into the background, but it never really goes away. Eventually I realized that this discomfort wasn't random. It wasn't just a phase. It was a signal from my life that something needed to change. And over time, I've started mapping out those signals, what they look like, what they meant, and how to work with them instead of just brushing them off. Now, I help other people do the same thing, especially when they're like in this murky middle space where the old life doesn't quite fit anymore, but the new one hasn't really revealed itself yet. If that's where you are, it's okay. What you're feeling doesn't mean that you've failed in the life that you've built up to this point. It's just feedback, and all we have to do is figure out what to do with it. So it's tempting to stay in that in-between space. I've done it many times for way too long. You're functioning after all, there's probably no big crisis going on, but staying in fine too long has its own consequences, I've found out. Fine feels fine until it starts hollowing you out. Let's talk about what that erosion actually looks like. So fine is easy to defend, and a lot of us do this all the time. We're not falling apart, everything is going along okay. You're holding it together, which means mostly you're answering emails you don't care about, and you're clapping politely at birthday parties that you didn't really want to attend. You're doing things at work maybe that no longer inspire you, in fact maybe you even resent them. Or perhaps there's a relationship that you're maintaining when you really no longer are getting any value out of it. But under the surface, as long as we stay in this I'm fine and I need to just be quiet and enjoy what I've got place, something slowly starts to shift, and it's not in a good way. We start to feel disconnected from our own lives. And the things that used to matter to us start to feel dull. I mean, it's like we get dulled out. We don't get excited about life like we used to. We're kind of just going through the motions. I mean, we smile when we're supposed to, and we're laugh when we're supposed to, and we're fulfilling our responsibilities. But it's kind of like we've become emotionally beige. We've lost curiosity. We've lost our spark. And it's not all at once. It's just a little bit at a time. Until one day, even the small decisions can start to feel either really difficult or like you don't care. And the longer that we stay in that in-between space, the harder it becomes to tell what's really us anymore and what's just habit and routine. Research shows that when people feel stuck, they're more prone to settle for less over time and to stay stuck in situations that don't serve them, particularly if we stay stuck because we're afraid. And when are we not afraid? Usually, if we're feeling stuck and restless, we know that something needs to change, but we're afraid. Because we don't know what exactly needs to change, or maybe even if we do, we're afraid to change it. Fear is there, and so we end up just settling for what we have and telling ourselves we're fine. And I can tell you from experience, and maybe you've had these experiences too, it doesn't work. Telling ourselves that we're fine just fully erodes our sense of self. If you look at your life 10 years down the road, and you imagine just staying right where you are, you probably can catch a glimpse of what I'm talking about here. Staying in this space is not good for you. It's not good for any of us. And even when we do settle for just okay, it might be in relationships, in work, in life, spiritually, it can be any part of your life where you're just settling for okay. It doesn't give us peace. It's not like we say, okay, I'm fine, I just need to be okay with this. That doesn't bring us peace because our inner selves aren't okay with that. If you want to call it your soul, your inner self, your intuition, the quiet witness of your life, whatever it is, we all sense that it's there. And that part of ourselves is not okay with that. And it's going to keep bugging us because it's not okay with that. Studies on decision making show that opting for just good enough in our lives can leave us feeling less satisfied, more regretful, and more anxious, especially if we're not aligned with what our deeper selves know that we want. On top of that, this small nagging discomfort tends to stick around a lot longer than any fleeting pleasures we may enjoy in the lives that we have. We humans, as you may know, have a natural negative bias, so we tend to dwell on our negative feelings more than the positive ones. It's just a survival mechanism. It's built into us. Scientists have found that even babies, when they're 6 months old, start gravitating toward this negative bias. So we have this. It's not something we can necessarily just erase. It's there. So we're going to focus more on the negative feelings we have than on the positive ones. So even if you're in this life that you feel is just okay, you're fine, and you go out and you have a good time one night, that's a fleeting pleasure. It's going to be gone, and the next day you're going to be right back in that same place of questioning where you are and feeling dissatisfied with it. That means if we don't pay attention to these feelings and signals, as I call them, from our lives, we could be digging ourselves into a deeper hole. The truth is that just sticking with "I'm fine" is going to actually worsen your life over time. It's not just going to stay the same, it's going to get worse. And this is the danger of fine. It doesn't hurt loud enough to demand that you change right now, but it does just enough damage to keep you stuck where you are, year after year, while making you feel worse and worse about it. This is not the future that you want for yourself. In other words, if you're in a place like this, and you think that things will magically just work themselves out, well, that may happen 1 in 100 times. In my experience, it probably won't. Things just continue to go downhill. That's how it really works. That's what nobody wants to tell you. If you're just floating along in this "I'm fine" place, things are going to go downhill. They're going to get worse. And you're still going to have good moments in there. But you'll have this overall feeling that's going to keep bugging you, that things aren't where you'd like them to be, or that you're not doing what you know you should be doing, or what you feel compelled to do. And over time, that can actually erode your sense of self, not somewhere you want to stay the rest of your life. But then we come back to this thing, okay, so how do I know if I'm really stuck? I mean, because we can just have bad periods in life. We can just have times in life that are kind of dull. I mean, how do we know that we're really feeling like something needs to change, or we're just going through a phase? And how do you tell the difference between what may be normal restlessness that we all may feel from time to time, and a deeper sense that something is just no longer right for me in this life? Let's look at a few signs that what you're feeling might actually be something deeper. Okay, so how do you know when you're just having an off week and when you're actually stuck in fine? I've got 3 signs that you can watch for. The first one is you keep saying, "I don't know." That means you've kind of lost access to your own clarity. Like, okay, if it's not this life, then what life? I don't know. If not this job, what job? I don't know. If not this person, what person? I don't know. Well, where do you think you should go next? I don't know. We lose our clarity when we stay stuck in fine. We lose that sense of self of this is where I want to go next. You may not even remember what that feels like. No, for a lot of times in my life, I would ask myself, well, what do you really want? I don't know. If we're in that place, it means we've stayed too long in that "I'm fine" place. This life is okay. It was what I was supposed to do, and it feels all right. Nothing is, terrible. There's no huge problems. We stay in that place, pretty soon we lose touch with who we are. And that is where the real danger is. I didn't realize at the time. I realize it now looking back. If you're in a place where you're like, well, what do I want? If it's not this, I don't know. That's a sign that your life is asking for a shift. Number 2 sign, you feel fine, but disconnected from your work. You're just going through the motions, disconnected from your relationships, disconnected from your life, disconnected from whatever spiritual source you have. You're showing up, you're functioning, you're taking care of your responsibilities most of the time, but you're not really there. You're not thriving for sure. You're moving through the day, but nothing is really mattering to you all that much. You might even feel guilty for wanting more, and this is really common. Because if everything is good in your life and you're healthy and you've got a good job, you got a roof over your head, most of us feel grateful for these things. So if we find that we kind of want more and we're restless for something else, we can feel guilty about that. What's the matter with me? I'm just kind of spoiled. My life is great. I just need to be happy with it. But this isn't about being greedy. This is about fulfilling your potential as a person. This is about your soul's path for where you need to go next. This isn't about just wanting more, like you just want a Mercedes or something when all you have is a Honda in the garage. If you're feeling a restlessness that you need to go do something different, this is about fulfilling your potential and who you're supposed to be. This kind of disconnection with where you are now is one of the clearest signs that you're stuck in fine. And sign number 3, you avoid any kind of stillness where you're kind of alone with your thoughts, because that's when these negative thoughts come up. So if you tend to fill every space in your life with scrolling, snacking, binge watching Netflix, organizing your sock drawer, cleaning out your closet, Googling how to feel fulfilled at 2 a.m. in the morning, anything but being with yourself, if you find that you're avoiding being with yourself, because when things are quiet and there's nothing else to distract you, that's when this restlessness starts to rise. That's when your inner self starts talking to you. Hello? Can we talk about this now? Everything is done. You got a minute to think. Can we talk about this? And you're like, no, I don't want to talk about this. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Go away, right? So you stay busy and you stay distracted. And deep down, you probably know that something's up, but you just don't want to deal with it. So you're going to stay distracted. That's sign number 3 that your life is asking for a transition. Here's the good news. These times when we're in these places of feeling restless and like something needs to change. I've been through so many of these in my life, and I've researched this a lot that now I know these times are really frightening. We don't really know what to do. I have found a way to break through these times. You don't have to start overhauling your life today, but you can start listening to it. That restless feeling, that quiet discomfort, the fact that you don't want to sit too long with yourself, it's trying to get your attention. And if you're not sure what it's saying just yet, that's perfectly okay. That's part of the process. There's an easy way to tune in. So if any of this has hit a nerve with you, if you've been brushing off that quiet sense of knowing that something is off, I'd like to suggest that you do one thing starting today. And that is go back to something you wrote, let's say a year ago, or 2 years ago, or even 5 years ago. And if you keep a journal, it could be a journal entry. If you don't keep a journal, it might be an email to a good friend, if you still keep your emails. If you keep your texts on your phone, go back, look at the text you wrote a year ago. Look for any trace of the truth about your life that you might have buried, that you were sensing this maybe way back then, and you just didn't let yourself bring this into your awareness, or you didn't let yourself name what was going on. Because here's what I've learned over the years. There was a time that I was journaling a lot, and I looked back and I was shocked at what I saw there. That I was seeing 5 years ago changes that my life was asking for, and I just continued in the I'm fine and didn't pay any attention. The signals are always there. Our life is always sending them to us. We just get really good at ignoring them. So if you'd like help noticing those signs, and if you want something simple, honest, and practical, I've got a free guide for you. It's called 7 Clues Your Life is Asking for a Change. It walks you through 7 common signals that show up when something inside you is ready to shift. And then it has quick prompts with it to help you start listening to what your life is telling you. You can grab it using the link below. It's completely free. And if even one of those signals rings true for you, that's a sign that this is not a mistake. This is not just a phase that you're going through. And if you're wondering how all this can fit together, how a life can look fine but still feel wrong, make sure you check out the first video in this series, which will be on the end screen. It can help you zoom out and see the bigger picture and maybe the answer to the question, is it really time for me to make a shift in my life? So thanks for being here. Your life is plotting something. You might as well start eavesdropping. I'll see you next time.